Matt Lenihan, Boxing Social, in association with Empire Fight Store. Always a pleasure to be joined by Peter Fury. Peter, I appreciate you giving us some of your time. I know I've just asked you how you were off camera, but I saw Twitter the other night and you were red wine, and I thought, here we go. It's all going off. You're back on a diet, I believe, back training, from what I can gather.
Yeah, I'm back on a diet. I needed to be because, again, with all the stress and shit that happens, I was creeping up to 19 stone. And yeah, I'm back down to 18 so far. So, and it's coming off. So yeah, I only had half a bottle last night. from 3 or 4 bottles, I've gone down to half a bottle.
What are you doing training wise then? Obviously, I know you've a lot on dealing with obviously Matty, Hughie, James Ian Fury, April, and stuff like that. How are you? What are you doing? Are you getting up doing a bit of the boxing yourself? How's your sort of regiment working before you crack on with them?
All I do, I've got a Peloton bike in the bedroom, so I get up in my underpants in the morning, yeah, go straight on that, right, and I pedal the shit out of that for 30 minutes, right, and then tell you what, they're brilliant. Them, make no mistake, they're not easy, and I'm surprised because I keep up to all the levels, and when you do exactly what the instructors tell you, you don't slacken off. It's a hard 30 minutes at this.
Yeah.
And we'll do that, and yeah, and I do a few weights in the evening, and then I do a bit of boxing. Obviously, I don't box. I take them on the pads and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm active. I'm watching what I'm eating as well. That's one. I'm doing it like 6 days a week.
What's inspired this then? You just thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to start doing something. Did it just click one morning, kind of thing? How's that sort of started?
Started like this when I went to put a suit on and I couldn't get it across my back. Yeah, right. I went to do my trousers up, right, and I've got a waistcoat which is there. Yeah, what should be there. So the clothes don't lie, the mirrors don't lie. But listen, it's people react to stress in different ways, and when stress overloads, I'm not interested in the gym. I eat shit like anybody else, and it all comes out in different ways. But that's it. So I've changed a lot of my schedules around because I was doing far too much stress, and yeah. So now I've relinquished. Well, not relinquished, but I'm not full time now. I've got obviously. Hughie's my son. He's up here, so when I come home, he's up here and stuff. Like the amateurs, I've got him going to amateur gyms, and yeah, just balancing my time a lot better, if you know what I mean. So I've got a bit of time for myself.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to say when you've been doing it for as many years as you have, I'm sure it gets to that point. I want to start away from sort of the typical boxing questions. I watched. I've not seen it all yet because it's a long watch, but the podcast you did with on Boxing Now, formerly BBTV, with Paddy Doherty, giving you a bit of an insight on the traveling culture, something a bit different. It was a great watch. How did that sort of relationship come about? Did you two just meet, obviously, or hear about each other through the traveling community? How did that sort of relationship go about?
No, I've known Paddy since I was 17-year-old, so I go back with him a long, long time. So he's a good man. Wears his heart on his sleeve, and interested. He's gone through some hard times as well. The man lost his son.
Yeah.
Gone through some horrific times, but he's also had some good times. It's nice for him to say at this time of his life where now he's enjoying his life.
Yeah.
So I had a good chat with him, and always good to see Paddy, and he's 100% supports us. He's a big fan of Hughie. He comes to watch all of his fights and stuff. So,
yeah,
it was nice to have Paddy on. I enjoyed it.
He's looking well. If anyone hasn't seen it as well, by all means, go check it out. It's a good watch, especially up to the point I've got it to anyway. Look, saw a picture midweek. Matty, Hughie, sparring Martin Bakole, who's obviously he's got a test with Jared Anderson coming up. That must be great work. How are them boys getting on? Obviously, getting that work, gearing up for fights themselves.
Yeah, it was very good. Big Martin's looking well. He always comes, he brings it, and he has good spars. And you've got to be on a certain level to be able to spar with Big Martin. He's a good fighter. So yeah, he got very good rounds in with Hughie, and yeah, he took Matt for some as well. He got a good. I think he done 14 rounds.
Wow.
So so he's yeah, he's ready, and he's looking forward to the fight.
I was with you after Matty's last fight, obviously, and I think and Hughie's last fight. I can't remember, but obviously we talk about activity, and it's sort of like the thing you go over and over with. But are we any close to finding out what their plans are coming up, kind of thing, moving forward?
Yeah, I know Hughie's scheduled to box on the end of September, and that's on a GBM show. And I'm looking at. I'm speaking to Mick, see if he can speak to Boxer and get him on sometime early August.
In terms of obviously Bakole, I feel like I speak to Billy Nelson an awful lot on these interviews, and he cracks me up, to be honest. But he's like, "Look, nobody wants to fight me. We've been offering him everybody." When you look at the fight he's got with Jared Anderson coming up, like he's their big hope in America. We know who he's done rounds with over the years. It's an exciting fight. What do you think from the outside looking? Are you looking forward to seeing that fight, or you know?
I am very much so. It's a good fight, that, and you know, it's whoever wants it most on the night, because I've rated Jared Anderson. I think he's a good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So and Bakole's a good fighter as well. So it's going to be very entertaining, and it's heavyweight boxing. But I know Big Martin's up for it, and yeah, when he puts them punches together, he can hit as well.
You see that as a bit of a 50-50 sort of, because we don't. It's hard to sort of say where Jared Anderson is. Obviously, I sort of see it and look and go. It's a bit of a crossroads to see who makes that step really onto the top table of heavyweight boxing. That's how I'd sort of see it looking from the outside.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a good fight, and and let's see what happens. But it's a good matchup for sure.
100%. I see young James Dean Fury picking up a title as well. Obviously, I know not turned over pro yet, but lively character. I've interviewed him, I think, just the once, but pops up on my feeds all the time. He can definitely talk, and he seems to be picking up the wins and stuff like that. Just talk to us what it's like having him about, and you have a bit of a laugh when you see him, because he's brilliant. Like when you speak to him, kind of thing.
Yeah, he's coming on. He's 18 years of age now. He's main thing, needing to have another 25, 30 fights, and he'll turn over when he's had about 50, 60 fights.
Yeah.
Amateur. Hopefully he'll pick up some titles along the way. He's certainly good enough, and yeah, so that's where we are. So it's all good for James Dean. He's definitely one to watch for the future.
Is he going to be potentially sort of the last one that comes through the door for you? You mentioned there about part-time and sort of settling, to take a bit of the load off your plate, kind of thing, because when you're juggling everything, do you think he'll be maybe the sort of the last one that comes through from you?
I'd definitely say so, yeah. I'm definitely cutting back, and so probably, yeah, there won't be any more coming after him. Not unless somebody says, Peter, I'll go and give you £5 million to do this for me. That's another message. You know what I mean? I'm a businessman, but apart from that, that's not going to happen anyway. But apart from that, I'm just dealing with Hughie now. I've got Hughie, Matt, there's James Dean coming through. I've got another young lad called Kohler, and Ibrahim Kohler. He's having his professional debut anytime. So I'm still looking and watching a few young fighters' careers.
Yeah. Is it nice that you've sort of got that mixture of, obviously, Hughie who's performed at that high level, when you look at his list of opponents, you've got Matty who's obviously suffered a loss but coming through, and you've sort of got a different level all around the board, so it's not like you've everyone at the same sort of table.
No, and it's better for me because they're all at different stages of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Some's at the beginning. James Dean still amateur, so Matty Harris is young heavyweight, so he's learning all the time. Talking to him, and he's listening. He's training hard, so he's now on the he's on the right tracks, and he's learning this pro game all the time. Let's not forget he only had 7 amateur fights, and he's young as well. He's 24, so I think he's had how many fights has he had? 8 or 9 pro fights now. So he's he's growing into it. Takes time, but when he clicks, he'll be a phenomenal heavyweight.
Yeah, you know, it's hard because I've seen that. I know he had the slip up, but he's got all the sort of tools. When you look at from the outside, I'd say, you know, he's big, he can move, obviously he can bang, and you sort of saw glimpses in his last fights of the bits that you've trying to instill in him a little bit, because you could see it in the first fight he had. I know he was a bit disappointed in himself, but you know, it's your first fight, new trainer, but the sort of difference was night and day when you watched the first fight to the second fight, for me anyway.
Yeah, what Matt's got to do, you know, he can punch. So when he fights these journeymen, they're either going to get close to him to take his power away, or they're going to run around the ring. Mm-hmm. So still letting opponents get too close to him where there's no need. Yeah. You know, he's got to learn how to you know, to box on the inside. You know, throw opponents off, get his space, put the shots in. All this is a continuous of work on the pads, on the bags, in the sparring. So he's doing all of that. So he's coming on. He's learning. And when it clicks, it's always the same. In boxing, if it's difficult, that means you can't do it. If it's difficult, you've not learned to do it. Because if you can do something and place your punches properly and work on the inside, then it's easy for you. Mm-hmm. There's one thing having a good defense. Then you need a good attack mode where you can put the punches in very easy. Mm-hmm. With the position of your feet, where your body is at the time, let the opponent come on to you, you know, where your positioning should be, and preempt, you know, what happens if he gets past me jab, what happens if he gets to you. All these things with Matt we're working on. So there's a lot of things for him to take in. And not only do we talk about it, he practices it, and you know, and just stuff like that. But he's coming on. In his last fight, you notice when the opponent got here, he didn't really know what to do.
Yeah,
you know, the referee had to break him off. You know, so he's got to get to grips on stuff like that. But there's a hell of a lot more to come from Matty Harris. He's young, he's a novice, and he's got a lot to learn. But he is learning, and he's picking up quick.
You always say you've had a lot of success throughout your training career and a lot of good times and good nights. I saw your interview with Carl Frotcher. I know you were referencing some. What gives you sort of the most satisfaction in this game now? Is it coming home from a training session going, you know what, everybody's listened, it's gone perfectly well, or is it after in the changing rooms after a win? What is it when you know go, you know what, that's a really good day at the office?
A good day at the office for me is when the fighters are listening and they're doing what you want them to do. You know, to train a fighter to get them to do what you want to do, it's almost like forging steel in heat. You know, you've got to bend it, you've got to twist it, you've got to stop it, do this, do that, do this, and you become like a bit of a parrot. Yeah. It's a repeat process, and then they can't do it, and you know, you'll say, "Hang on a minute, stop. What have I just told you? You know, start again. Do you need a rest? You know, go and take some water." I'm not interested in spar, having a hard spar where it's not correct in the first place. Where what I'm trying to say is it's a good spar, but it could be a lot easier and a lot more effective and no need to do as much. So therefore, listen to what I'm telling you and do X, Y, Z. So all of these things. And when they start picking it up, which after a while they do, you know, and then they start putting it together, then you see the quality of the boxing. And then when they put their own stamp on it, and they get it, and they put their own stamp on it, then it's nice to see. Yeah. So all that is enjoyable because you get them to do stuff what they don't do. Yeah. And obviously, you know, getting up there, winning titles and stuff. Yeah. You know, that's the icing on the cake.
It's good to hear, obviously, because obviously your experience, it's good to hear that sort of side of it. Look, I've only a few more to ask you. But in terms of heavyweight boxing, on that same card we mentioned earlier, return of Andy Ruiz against Jarrell Miller. I think that's an interesting one because you sort of wonder, Andy Ruiz, as Hunger's been questioning, he made a ton of money against Anthony Joshua. And there's still that question mark over, are we going to see that Andy Ruiz who's, you know, fighting like, you know, this is his last chance, like in the first fight with Joshua, and Baby Miller's coming off a knockout defeat to Dubois. I know he'll want to get back in the mix. It is an interesting one. What's your sort of take on that? And obviously, Andy Ruiz making his return.
I think it's a good fight. You know, and Andy Ruiz is a world level operator. He's a good fighter. I seen him fight one fighter. He could have fought Ariola, did he?
I think he did fight Jarrell. He got knocked. Did he get knocked down in that fight, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, to me, he looked like he got too much weight off.
Yeah.
You know, and made himself a bit weak. He looked like that anyway.
Yeah.
So I think if Andy Ruiz is in great condition, and you know, and he's fit and he's strong, you know, that's it. You know, what's a bit of body fat? You know, if you can go 12 rounds.
Yeah.
You know, so if he's in proper shape, I don't mean in shape. Look, there's a difference in shape.
Fighting shape.
In shape to be a bodybuilder is not a fighter. I'm not interested in six packs. I don't mean shit to me. Yeah, being in shape is being in fighting shape. Yeah, and you don't need. You can have a little bit of fat on you because you're an heavyweight. But if he's put the work in, he's a very good fighter, Andy Ruiz Jr. Very good. So's Miller, to be fair. He throws a lot of punches. He's like a dynamo. He comes in and he keeps throwing. So maybe he'll improve from his last fight. A loss means nothing.
Yeah.
You know, look where Dubois is now. Look at Zhang.
Yeah.
You know,
good
doesn't
fight.
mean anything.
No.
It's just the fighters need to fight each other. And, you know, if he beats him on a Wednesday, on a Friday, he could lose to the same person.
I think that's the good thing about the sport at the minute. We seem to be getting these guys who, they took a loss, but the stock doesn't necessarily dip just because, you know, it's boxing. You're not going to go your whole career unless you have that type of career like your Mayweathers and stuff like that. But it's very rare you go a whole career undefeated anyway.
Well, you've got to study this job. Look, if if you haven't done your due diligence properly, and you're facing a world level fighter, and then the fight shifts, yeah, and it shifts from the pattern that you've trained for, because that fighter is bringing something else to the table. If these minuses and pluses are not accounted for, and you try and tell the fighter in the midst of all that while it's going on, then you've got an ordeal on your hands.
Yeah.
Because how can you take it in and change it then? Your fighter tends to fight how he's trained for that fight. So this is why preparation is key in getting it right. You've only got to get your preparations wrong. What I mean by preparations is not fitness, and you can put all the work in the world. You've got to have the right strategies, the way to go about fights. You know, it's not just about putting the work in. That's all part of the course. You've got to do that anyway if you're thinking of winning the fight. But it's a strategic things and getting your job right. So you can rest assured and say to that fighter, do X, Y, Z and what I tell you, and you'll come through that fight. Yeah. The fighter, it's a two-way street. You've got to get in the corner, they've got to talk back to you, and and you just round by round.
100%. Chris Eubank Jr. sort of reared his head over last week or so, signed with Boxer and Sky Sports. Rumoured to be fighting Canelo, or, you know, you don't know with these things until you see a poster, you know, or anything announced. But that's an interesting one. Obviously, Canelo's where he's at, pound for pound, one of the best in the world, a who's who on his resume. Would you be interested in that fight?
Yeah, look, and listen, I think if Canelo fought the local barman, I think we'd be interested in it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter who he's fighting. I think Eubank's a good fighter, and I think he's got as good a chance as anybody else. Everybody else has had a crack at it. So let's see if he can. Styles make fights, and anything's possible. He's experienced. He's been around a long time. So
33, I think now, 34. He's had the.
Well, I think he deserves a good fight, because now it's now or never, isn't it? He's probably made a lot of money and all that, but to cement any kind of legacy, and you know, I know we always look at the fathers, don't we, and see what the father's done and stuff like that. But you know, I think if he fights one of these top guys and he gets a win, then it'll polish his career off.
Yeah, 100%. Last one from me, Mike Tyson. I keep seeing in the media, obviously, he's this fight that he's supposed to be having with Jake Paul. I know this isn't your side of the fence, by the way, in terms of this side of boxing. From your point of view, when you see a legend like that who's going to be going up against probably Jake Paul next, if he gets past this gets past Mike Perry, is that sad to see from the outside looking in for you, on your opinion, or is it a case of no, let him embrace it, let him go get his payday kind of thing? What's your take on it? Your honest opinion?
The honest opinion, if Mike Tyson was in his 80s, that kid wouldn't be good enough to climb up the steps of the same ring. Never mind get in there. We know that.
Yeah.
But time catches up, and one's a young man against somebody who's getting on towards 60. Yeah. Not saying that Mike Tyson's finished or whatever it is, but he's an old man. So I've got no interest in seeing that. Mike Tyson was one of the best heavyweights of all time. Without a doubt. Great fella, achieved mega things in his life. And it's a form of disrespecting, really. We've got somebody who's a white collar kid, clever businessman, and credit to the family, they do well. But this is on another level, Fighters need to be ultimately respected, because who are you to challenge these people? These are, when they was younger, these people was up ferociously at the top of their game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're best in their eras. And all we see them now, we see them nearly 60. Listen, you're on the doorstep of drawing a pension, and you're fighting some young fella. How's that gonna go? How do we think Mike Tyson's gonna do a structuring job? Probably not. And if he loses, Mike Tyson, what does that say anyway? So it shouldn't be happening, in my opinion, because one's not good enough to lace his boots up in his day. Put the two at the same age, you'd be a murder charge. So let's have it right. So what are we looking at? We're looking at some YouTubers that know fuck all about boxing, some fans cheering on about some YouTube shit. That's what it is to me. Look, I know world level fighters, and there's not a YouTube born out of his mother that's remotely a world level fighter. So let's get a grip on it all.
Yeah,
it fits misfit boxing.
Yeah,
Sauerland's has got a right name tag on it. Misfit boxing. It's not world level boxing. That's night and day.
Yeah. No, with you on that
and
one.
I'm not disrespecting any YouTube fighter, whatever. But that category needs to stay there, and world level boxing needs to stay right here.
No, I agree with you on that, Peter. I appreciate you giving us some of your time, bud. Always good with it. Thank you for responding. Like I said, I know you're hectic schedule and all that stuff. So, yeah, really do appreciate it.
I'm actually very relaxed. Look at my hands. Look, can you see them? Or black paint everywhere. I've been painting. I bought a post office box. Yeah, post box.
Yeah.
It weighs 1 ton and it's 6 foot in the air. Yeah. So anyway,
why did you bought one?
Huh?
What you bought a big? What is it, like a big antique thing that you've bought?
Yeah, listen, it's a 1950 post box. So, I bought it to go in front of the house. So I've been painting it, rubbing it down and painting it and stuff. So I've had a chilling day today, to be honest with you.
It doesn't sound too bad. Doesn't sound
no. See, so so I even a painter and decorator, can train world level fighters. How about that?
Jack of all trades, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening, pal. I really appreciate it as usual, and I'll be down at the gym soon.
Don't worry, I'm gonna have. I've had half a bottle yesterday. I'm gonna have half a bottle probably tonight. Half a bottle the next day. And what I'm doing now, I'm spreading it.
Your diet will fly if you're doing that.
Fly. Of course, I might even go on a red wine diet.
Nah, fucking.
Good speaking with you.
100%. Nah, good man. I'll catch up with you soon anyway.
And you, God bless you.
Thank you.